when people talk about getting the most out of the gym, I say you got to do three things. You got to show up, because if you don't show up,
Ugh,
then you can't expect anything.
yeah.
You got to listen to coach and ask questions,
Get
and
engaged. Yeah.
you got to involve yourself in the community. You got to talk to the other people. You got to talk to the coaches. You got to talk to the members. You got to attend the events. If you do all three, you're going to love it.
Welcome, Kolby Kristofik, to the Young Athletic. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Of course, Kolby is the owner of Oxnard MVMNT and CrossFit Ventura.
Yep.
How are those two businesses going?
Going great.
Yeah.
We had just acquired CrossFit Ventura this last December, so that is fairly new for us, and it's been an awesome transition. We like running both spaces.
Is it primarily a CrossFit gym?
Yeah,
Nice.
primarily CrossFit Gym, some personal training, and in the Oxnard space, we actually have an Olympic lifting club as well that works out of there as well. So primarily CrossFit, personal training, and then some Olympic lifting. We actually have a massage therapist out of our Oxnard space as well.
Or do they do primarily the same functions? There's not like one specialty at one place and another specialty at like Ventura versus Oxnard?
No, we both do the same workout. So if you attend a class in Oxnard, you're going to do the same workout as you're doing in Ventura, and
Nice.
vice versa.
Who writes this curriculum? Like, who's the expert trainer here? Is it you?
Nope, it is not. We hire, the way CrossFit's used to do it is every owner used to write their own program, and they would spend between 5 and 10 hours on a weekly basis creating this program, writing notes for their coaches, preparing for the week. And then this kind of CrossFit blew up in 2013,
Yeah.
14, 15.
Yeah, I remember that.
And there was a lot of affiliates. And so started to be companies that said, you know what? We are just going to focus on creating a really, really good program, and we're going to distribute it to hundreds or thousands of affiliates. And so we actually use a program called Mayhem Affiliate,
Okay.
is used by, I think, another gym in our area. There's some gyms in Santa Barbara that use them. A lot of our members, when they go and drop in at other gyms around the country, say, hey, we did the exact same workout that I saw on our app as well. So Mayhem is who we use to create the program for us.
So that's like a national company, Mayhem, or curriculum?
Yeah, so Mayhem is actually another CrossFit gym, and they just have a dedicated team for their gym that creates the notes, that creates the videos, that creates the workouts, and they use it for their gym space, but they also use it to expand out to any other gyms as well. And a lot of the larger gyms will do that. They'll have their own in-house team, and they do an excellent job with it. So they'll distribute that to several affiliates all over the world. Yeah. There's another gym called NorCal NC Fit or NorCal CrossFit. They do the same thing. They have their own program, and the program is all designed really, really well. And because they do it really well for themselves, they say we might as well distribute this to other gyms that want to use it as well.
Are there other gyms in the area that do CrossFit, like primarily CrossFit like you guys?
Yes, in Ventura, there are a couple, but in Oxnard, we're the only CrossFit gym. In Ventura, there's actually quite a few gyms that practice the type of CrossFit. Officially, that are licensed with CrossFit, I believe, are Beachside and Persistence Culture are the other two gyms, CrossFit gyms, that are like licensed. But there's a handful of others they practice the CrossFit, but they don't pay for an affiliation.
Yeah, I haven't like seen either of those.
Yeah, it's pretty like you're not really. I think that sometimes that's such a big misconception for me. I feel like I talk about our gym and our space all the time.
Yeah.
The reality is nobody knows. Like nobody knows who we are. Nobody knows who the other CrossFit gyms are. And so even though we do a lot of content and we are putting a lot of things out, like reality is still nobody knows, what CrossFits are around here, what CrossFits are, things like that.
So why CrossFit? Is it something you love? Is it something you believe in? Is it,
yeah,
I
I started CrossFit after I ended my collegiate water polo career. So I played collegiate water polo at Pepperdine University. And when I finished playing, there was a span of time where I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. And all I had ever done for exercise was practice. And so I had never like gone to the gym to be healthy. Gained a bunch of weight, kind of went through like a depression because that was also like my friends. The team was my friends, right? So I was like, you know what? I need to get back to the gym, and I'll commit to go into the gym. And I went to the gym every morning, 6 o'clock, and I was like, I'm going to do this for 8 weeks. 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 days a week. And I did it, and it sucked.
It's hard.
It was miserable.
It's really hard.
I like committed to it, so I said I was going, but it was brutal going in there, putting headphones in, not talking to anybody, figuring out what you're doing. And so not shortly after that, when I like stopped going 5 days, and I went down to 3 days, and I was trying to figure out other things to do. And I was out running with a friend because I was like, oh yeah, I'll go with I was like, I'm not really more of a water athlete, but I'll go for a run with you. And she was like running circles around me. I'm like dying. She's like, oh, I'm gonna go run ahead to this point and then come back to you. And then I'll go run ahead to this point and come back. And I was like, I was like, what do you do? Like, I was a collegiate water polo player. I was a pretty good athlete. Like, what do you? She's like, oh, I do CrossFit. Like, you probably like it. She's like, you should give it a try. And so I ended up giving it a try, and I was like, this is awesome. This was like team sports for adults. Like, there's nothing like this. It was super community oriented. Like, you had a coach there that was telling you what to do. They were leading you through the entire thing. The program was decided. You didn't have to decide what you were going to do. The program was decided for you.
Right.
It felt like team sports. So I started it in 2012. And then even within the year of that, I was still in college at that point. I decided, hey, I want to like coach something like this. This would be super cool to coach. So I started coaching in 2013. So just a year after starting it. Yeah. And I got my butt kicked.
By the workouts?
By the workouts.
They are hard.
I mean, I was a collegiate water polo player that was doing 20 hours or more a week of exercise and training and stuff like that. And I remember when I first started, he's like, classes are an hour. I'm like, only an hour? And he's like, yeah, only an hour.
Yeah, that's all you need.
And he's like,
you need 30 minutes. That's all you need.
He's like, you should come like 3 days a week. And I was like, I do 6 days a week. What do you mean 3 days? He's like, you should probably just do. And like by day 4, I was like, I can't do 5 days a week of this. Like, this is crazy. And it took me a couple of months to like work myself up to 5 or 6 days a week as a 20-year-old. You know, I was 21 at the time. So I was young, in shape 21-year-old, and it still took me a couple of months to like work up to it. But I fell in love with the methodology, the ideas behind it. I think it's a super awesome way to get really fit, but also do it for a long time. I think one of the big premises is to increase your work capacity across broad time and modal domains. And that sounds super fancy. It just means being able to say yes to whatever stuff you want to say yes to. And I like that idea, as my training is to just say yes to all the other things that I want to say yes to, because I like other sports. I've never been a fan and not, I don't think that this is necessarily a wrong thing, but I've never been a fan of doing CrossFit to be really good at CrossFit.
Oh, yeah.
I think that you should use that to open up doors to other athletic endeavors. And that was what it was intended to be originally as well. Sport kind of grew when CrossFit grew in 2015, 16, and the CrossFit Games became a huge thing. But that was never how I saw CrossFit. But
so it's really a tool to increase your sporting activities.
Yeah, they just be able to have more fun with all the stuff that I did. And I think that actually helped me like learn a lot more stuff, probably quicker than maybe I would have before, or even get exposed to things that I probably would have said no to just because I maybe didn't have the baseline to it. But in CrossFit, you're like constantly trying things that you're terrible at. And so that gives you a little bit more confidence to try some things maybe outside of the CrossFit world that maybe you wouldn't be so good at.
I want to get back to the community feel that you talked about. You went to the gym and you didn't feel it there. And then you went to CrossFit and you did. What was that like?
There's really not anything like it. I think that we as humans are a very community oriented species, and it's really hard to like go throughout life without a tribe. I think tribes are awesome. I think a couple of other spaces that do a really good job with a tribe feel. I think jiu-jitsu does a really good job with tribes, and church can also do a really good job with tribes and communities as well. And being able to like make friends and what I'd call like family or framly, and having people that reach out to you when you're not at the gym, reach out to you for big milestones, attend weddings, get married to people within the gym, meet people that you like, they'll move away, but then they'll stay in contact with you for months and years past that. One of our mottos is once you're part of the tribe, you're always part of the tribe. Whether you move on and do other things, you'll always still be part of the tribe.
Is that specific to your business?
Not all gyms operate that way.
Yeah.
No. I think that's one of our core values. Fun and family are two, and that's like our saying with fun and family is once you're part of the tribe, you're always part of the tribe. So
yeah, that's cool. I always tell my kids, my players this, like just join a team. Like it's so much easier to make friends that way.
yeah,
Like in high school and college, I wouldn't have had as many friends as I did if I didn't play those sports.
totally. I think there's a huge social component to it. Like, yes, you are going to get workout, but I when people talk about getting the most out of the gym, I say you got to do three things. You got to show up, because if you don't show up, then you can't expect anything.
Yeah.
You got to listen to coach and ask questions.
Get
And
engaged, yeah.
You got to involve yourself in the community. You got to talk to the other people. You got to talk to the coaches. You got to talk to the members. You got to attend the events. If you do all three, you're going to love it. If you do two of them, you're going to be like, this is okay. If you do one of them, you're like, this place sucks. But the involving yourself in the community is huge. Like it's an underrated thing, thinking, I'm just going to come into the gym, I'm going to do my own thing. And then you realize there's actually a lot of really cool people here that I could talk to and have common space with.
Is there something specific to CrossFit that you think binds them more than other team sports? Is it just the intensity of the workout?
No, I think a lot of team sports do have a very, very similar feel. I think the hard part with teams is there's limits on who can be involved, like number of people, and there is kind of that as well, right? We'll say like in a class, there's a cap of 16 people that could ever come to a class, and you usually find your class that you like to go to on a regular basis. With teams, I feel like once you've kind of got at your maximum capacity for the team, it's hard to expand past those connections. You could try to join another team, but the likelihood is like you joined your team for a reason, and you like the people that are on your team. So there's a little bit of more opportunity for connections that might have been missed in a regular team dynamic, which is a unique thing. But I absolutely don't know. Like team sports, hands down, was a massive like social outlet for me growing up. I mean, swimming and water polo that's what I didn't ever do anything else. It was practice for swim and water polo, and that was all my friends.
You're in the pool a lot, huh?
Yeah, I was in the pool a lot.
Do you feel like you made more of a connection? You feel more of a connection in CrossFit or in swimming and water polo? On very different times of your life.
Yeah, I think because of my age, I think that I have stronger connections with CrossFit. I think I was too young to understand the value of those relationships that I was making when I was younger, and no one really explained it to me. Right, that was something kind of discovered when it was gone.
Once you're on your own, you realize it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think that that's starting to shift in sports as well. There isn't just this, you're doing the sport to do the sport. It's like, hey, this is teaching you a lot about life through this sport. I think that was not really something that was put heavy emphasis on when I was growing up. It was like, you're here to be as good as you can, and that was it.
The importance of the team, really, I don't think I understood that as a player either. It's like you work individually to get as best as you can be, but like being a part of a team will carry you through so many things.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. I was on your website earlier today, and I noticed you have like 1,000 coaches listed.
Yeah, we got quite a bit on our staff.
That's awesome. How did that happen? How does it feel to, sort of hire the right people, like build that team yourself?
Yeah. We got to acquire a lot of awesome coaches. We ended up keeping all but one of the coaches when we made the transition with Ventura. And we inherited some amazing coaches who wanted to stay and wanted to keep coaching at the facility and see the space grow and thrive as well. But in our Oxnard space, every single one of our coaches has either gone through our coaches development program that's kind of rigorous. Most of them have been members prior to going through the coach development. So they were came to the community, found us through the community through CrossFit, and said, hey, this made a big impact on my life, and I think I could potentially make impact on somebody else's life through this too. Or they've been there longer than I have. I came to what was CrossFit Oxnard in 2018, and two of our current staff were there already. Brenda and Jeff. Jeff has been there since 2013 or 14, and Brenda's been there since 2014 or 2015.
So it was already kind of established.
Yeah.
And he purchased it.
Yeah. It was a very well established. Joe, the previous owner, did an excellent job running it as of a business. The downside for Joe, he's a military guy. He was like, I don't like people. And this was CrossFit's a very people oriented space. He was excellent with the numbers and set up a really good structure. I learned a ton from him on the business side because all I had done up to that point was the coaching and the managing side. I had never owned a business, and I was a really excellent coach, really excellent trainer, could get anybody results, was really good at accountability and at motivation, and learning the back end of the business was a whole different thing.
The business owner part.
Yeah, that was a very steep learning curve.
But you feel you built on that and you expanded the family component to it, the friendships and the community component.
Totally,
to it.
Yeah. One of the biggest things that we had to shift when I took over before. So I ran the space for 3 years, from 2019 to 2021, 2.5 years before I bought the space from him. And the biggest thing that I did in that time frame was kind of take a massive step and look at what our retention was like, which is like how many people are coming in versus how many people are leaving. And we had a terrible retention. We could not keep people for any amount of time. So we would be working really hard to try to get new people in the doors, and nobody would stay. We've increased our retention. We were just under. We were like 8% on a 12-month retention.
Dang.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically less than 1 out of 10 people stay for a year. And so that was 2019, and that's when I started making changes. We now have 26, soon to be 31 people who have been there for 5 years or more. We keep track and give accolades on a couple of different things, and that's
Yeah, I
a
saw
huge piece for retention, is rewarding people for not only showing up, but for being there for a long time. And so those are some big changes, along with there's certain steps in people's journey that they actually get to sit down and meet up with a coach second time, third time, fourth time. That's not just in classes. Like, you get re-invited back into
Like a one-on-one session?
Yeah, that's part of your membership as well.
You said retention was difficult. What other challenges that when you first purchased the business, what were some of the things you had to work out?
Some of the other things that I had to work out was I had to learn how to run a business. I had no idea really how to do it. Luckily, I kind of knew what I didn't know. And so one of the first things that I did was hired a coach, basically a mentor, to help set me up. Somebody,
like a business mentor?
Yep.
Okay.
That specializes in CrossFit or boutique style gyms, and was really able to dial me in and say, hey, here's the big components that you need to be dialing in and have focused on, or track and measure, so you know what you're doing well and what you're not doing well. So I think that early on, I did a terrible job with like tracking and recording things. I didn't know how many new people we got on a monthly basis. I didn't know how many people left. I didn't know why people left. I didn't know who had left reviews, who hadn't left reviews, how long somebody had been there. I didn't track anything.
So what was the biggest difference from not retaining a member to retaining a member? How did you make the switch?
We found that the first 100 days made the biggest difference.
And what did you do in those first 100 days?
We significantly improved the client experience from day 1 to day 100. We implemented a pretty intense onboarding process, which involves between 6 and 12 one-on-one sessions with a coach where we teach fundamentals of all the movements. We also will shadow you into a class. So not only are you doing one-on-ones, you also kind of get like pre-put into a class with an additional coach with you to help offset the difference between one-on-one training and training in a group of 10, 12 people, because it's a big difference. Then we also do a follow-up session with people in those first 30 days. So after they've been a member for 30 days, they get to do another session one-on-one with a coach. They get a 60-day progress report to see how many classes they've attended, and then some notable things from what they've recorded in their workout tracking piece. And then at 90 days, they do a sit-down session with a coach to track progress. Hey, you did a scan on your day 1 and you did a scan on day 90. Have we made any progress in the right direction? And then how are we going to keep that progress for the next 6 months?
What exactly do you track in those, meetings? You said a scan. What's that scan?
In-body scan. So an in-body will track it's got a bunch of different metrics, but the major metrics are like total weight, skeletal muscle mass, percentage body fat, or body fat mass are the big metrics on it.
And you do that like once a month, twice a month? Once every 3 months?
For our members, we have it available once every quarter for them. If you have to come to us and ask to do it once a quarter, we do it in your sit down every 6 months. So even if you don't, I'm forcing you to get on it once every 6 months, and tracking. And we use it as data, right? Sometimes people are like, I don't want to get on, I don't know what it's going to look like versus last time. And it's like, these are just numbers. Numbers are numbers. They're not telling you you're a good person or a bad person. These numbers are going to help us guide the next 6 months of what we're going to try to do, maybe changes we might need to make. Because if we're not making progress, maybe we need to change something. But if we are making progress, then we should keep doing what we were doing.
What's the core element or activity of a CrossFit workout? Like, for example, in soccer, we run a lot. There's no soccer without running or touches on the ball. Like, what's the essential
Yeah.
makeup of a CrossFit workout?
I would say there's three. It's three modalities basically. There's gymnastics, there's lifting, weightlifting, and there's monostructural or metabolic conditioning, which is like cardio stuff. Those are the three components, and you mix and match those three components as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of variety.
Yeah. Yeah, we're trying to avoid, and the variety is intentional variety. A lot of people think it's random variety, but if you zoom out on an 8-week or a 12-week cycle, you'll see that certain movements are programmed on certain days, or it'll follow a progressive overload type of cycle of like, hey, on weeks 1, 2, and 3, we're going to be at percentages 65, 70, and 75%. Then we're going to change the volume. The volume will change for a lifting piece, and it'll go up at a lower percentage. Then it'll go down in reps again. We'll go a higher percentage. So it'll be a progressive overload. And if you look at them, if you come in daily, you're like, man, this is different every day. But if you zoomed out a little bit, you'd be like, oh, okay.
How long is a typical structure? Does it take 8 weeks? Does it take 12 weeks?
You could jump in at any point, and we do have people jumping in at any point throughout that period. The reason that it's broken into those 8 and 12-week cycles is we'll usually do like a test or a retest at those. So if somebody misses a test or retest, you won't be able to go off of exact numbers in the middle of that cycle, which is okay. A lot of our members within the first 6 months are going off feel anyways. They're not going to have a true 1 rep max on any of the lifts because they've just learned how to do them. So they're going to go off of feel anyways. So if you come in the middle, it's going to be fine if you feel what a 70% is for you.
Yeah. You said earlier that CrossFit is used as a tool to like enhance your other sports.
Yeah.
Do your members, do you have activities in those kinds of sports as well?
Yeah, we do. I would love our members to do more, and I could do a better job of partnering with other potentially businesses or activities to have more available for people. But we've got a lot of members that play like rec soccer. We've got a lot of members that play rec softball. We've actually hosted a couple of softball teams where the gym pays for the members who want to play in a league. We've done rock climbing nights, or like over 4 weeks.
Where's the rock climbing gym?
There's a rock climbing gym, Victoria, in the 101, Boulder Dash.
So right on the intersection, close to the intersection.
Yeah, if you go just south of the 101, there's a bunch of like big warehouse.
Oh, it's buildings. In the warehouses. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to go rock climbing.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun, and a lot of like the cool thing about that too is I would say that, and it's not true for all of them, but CrossFit, there are athletic people inside CrossFit, but a lot of the gym goers they've never played sports. They've never done the gym in their life. Like, it's brand new. So to get some sort of competence and confidence in general fitness, and then to be like, well, let me go try this new thing like rock climbing without any prior skill, like, seems kind of crazy. But a lot of people are willing to go out and try and end up finding some other things that they like doing too.
Do you ever do like specialist days, like have a baseball coach show up and show them how to throw a ball, or basketball?
We're this year we do clinics for movements inside the gym, but this year we're going to try to get a couple of what I call SMEs, which is subject matter experts, to come in and run some clinics. Where have I heard that acronym before? It's a fairly common acronym, subject matter expert. It's used in like a lot of continuing education fields. I feel like I heard it at my last job or something. Maybe, yeah. But we've had a physical therapist come in and do like a postpartum clinic on things. I'd love to have. We're going to do like a rowing clinic, so we're going to have somebody who's a rower come in and teach like, hey, if you're going to be in like rowing class or a rowing club, what would that look like? How would you be taught how to row? What are certain things that you should be looking for? That our goal is to do a lot more of those, which are with outside subject matter experts versus our in-house coaches. And we love our in-house coaches, and we'd love for them to put on clinics for things. But sometimes it's really cool to get a different perspective from somebody who specializes in something like that.
I want to ask, like, what's the best age range for a CrossFit member? Because I know I don't picture it a lot with youth.
Yeah.
You know, it's more of a thing you come into later in life.
Yeah.
Is it ideal to be older or younger?
I think that it depends. The people that I like working with the most are moms and dads. So mid-30s to mid-40s are the people that I love working with the most. I think that CrossFit has shifted quite a bit because there's a large sport component to it, where there's younger kids that are probably early teens, 12, 13, 14, that are getting into CrossFit. The early CrossFit kids is where there's younger than 10, probably that 5 to 10 age range. There are programs that are geared around that, but they're mostly play, and they're not you're learning some movement fundamentals, but it's pretty heavily biased towards games, fun, and activity. Yeah. Just trying to teach kids, I think, that exercise doesn't necessarily have to be punishment. It doesn't have to be like terrible.
Yeah.
But if kids are in sports, then that's probably already. In my opinion, I think that putting your kid in sport is probably going to be better for the younger population. As that kid starts to decide, hey, maybe I want to do 1 or 2 sports, using CrossFit as a general program, fitness program for those sports is a better idea. Mm-hmm. So I think that it can be utilized, but I don't think that younger kids, you should be like, oh, CrossFit's the sport to start your kid in. I think that it can be utilized for that, but go put your kid in a sport, have them be a part of a team, have them do training, don't have them do CrossFit. I think the CrossFit provides significantly more value for the parents in their 35 to 45 age range that did do fitness at one point, don't do it anymore, don't have the time or energy to create something on their own, to have their own, program that they do, like make new friends by going to the gym, and it provides all of those things. Yeah. So
it's a little different. What would you say to someone who's just starting off on their fitness journey? Someone who just shows up to at your gym, doesn't know what's going on, it just wants to get back into shape, or has never been in shape.
Yeah. If they're at the gym, I usually say the hardest part's over. Because for somebody, and I've been that person, for somebody who's maybe done it or never done it, the making contact and showing up to your first day, there can be an insane amount of anxiety and stress that is involved with that. And once you're there, that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
And so I often tell people, the hardest part's over. You went through the stress of looking at a bunch of places. You went through the stress of do I show up or do I not show up? Can I do this? Can I not do this? You've already just done all of that.
Yeah. Entering a room full of strangers and being, hey, accept me. I want to be here,
Yeah. And typically all of our new members, they meet with a coach one-on-one. So they never get put into the group environment on day one.
Oh, okay.
It didn't used to be like that. You used to get thrown straight in there. Turns out it's not so great for retention.
Okay.
Or people's sanity of being I don't have any idea what I'm doing, and I just got asked to do all these insane things, and I'm never coming back.
So day one, you're exclusively with a trainer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are they doing a workout? Are they watching the workout?
We'll do an assessment with them.
Okay.
And that assessment's a little bit of movement. In the assessment, I typically do two major movement patterns that I look at. I look at a squat movement pattern. I look at a hinge movement pattern. And the two movements that we use is a wall ball shot and a kettlebell swing. The hinge and the squat are two patterns that I want you to know and be able to do. And I look for like body awareness and learning style. Like, can you take direction? Can you not take direction? Do you know where your body is in space? And can you make the changes that I'm asking for? And then we'll put them under a little bit of stress after I've done some teaching. We've made some corrections. We'll do it in a workout format, which is 8 minutes. We don't have anybody do anything longer than 8 minutes. So that they're a little bit tired and maybe form breaks down a little bit, and I get to see, hey, what happens when you get a little bit tired.
Yeah. I love seeing that with
It
my
can
soccer
be,
players.
you can look great when it's 1 or 5 reps, but if I'm asking you to do 20 of them, or I'm asking to do some running and then come back to another movement, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh boy, we're going to have to take some more time to practice that before you feel like you're going to be safe going into class.
I see that all the time in a soccer game. When players don't know what to do, they like go back to their defaults. And you see it, oh, that's what they do when they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I know exactly the moment you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. You can only move, like when you're tired, move as well as like your worst case scenario. So when you turn your brain off, that's when the real like learning assessment happens. We talk about that with people in their onboarding. We make things kind of obnoxious.
What does that mean?
I mean, like we teach breathing for things, and it's not super heavy, but I'm like, I need to hear you breathe. And not only do I need to hear you breathe, the other side of the room needs, and it feels weird to do that.
This is still the one-on-one assessment?
Yeah, these are in our teaching sessions. And it's like, it feels weird to do that. You're going to feel so dumb doing it. But I want you, like, when you hear yourself, you're going to reinforce it. And when you do these other things, you're going to reinforce it and reinforce it and reinforce it. Because at some point, you're not going to think about it. And you still need to do those things. And I want you to get to the point, because of course you can do it when you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
But you need to be able to do it when you're 5 rounds in and you're really tired and you're not thinking about it. You're just doing it. So it's really fun to make people feel a little bit silly, but it helps the learning significantly.
Are there other things that you try to teach, like nutrition or mentality, those kinds of things at the gym?
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about nutrition. That's one of the hardest things that I think needs to be
good, man.
Needs to be paired with exercise. And people are like, oh, I want to come in, I want to lose 50 pounds. And it's like, you know where you're going to lose 50 pounds, and it's not in the gym. If you want to lose 50 pounds, you're going to have to change your diet and the way that you're eating. And so we used to have a nutrition program where we had a coach work directly with people. Now we have a lot of nutrition education. So I give away a lot of nutrition education, but we don't have any coaches on staff that'll work one-on-one. We had a few coaches that had moved away. Then we did some remote stuff for a while with those coaches as well. And life circumstances just put us in a place where it's like, unless we can offer you a really good service with it, we could try to make it fly, but I want to make sure that you're getting really good. So now I refer to a couple of online nutrition coaching services that I feel do a really good job. A lot of our coaches work with them, and so I feel safe referring them to members as well.
Do you feel like you'll go back to having a in-house nutritionist?
I would like to. It's you got to find the right person to do for it, to hire for it. And I spent a lot of time before I found the person that ended up moving away. I went through several iterations of nutrition coaching staff. It's hard to.
Is that harder to get right than a regular CrossFit coach?
It is significantly different because a CrossFit coach is operating in a group setting where the amount of knowledge that's required, the amount of training that's required, and I would say people skills because it's significantly more intimate when you're talking to people about their food than their exercise. And it's an potentially extremely sensitive topic for people.
Yeah.
And so I have a pretty high standard for like what you have to, and it's hard to hold that standard. And even with a lot of training, people are like, this is hard. It's hard to be a good nutrition coach.
It's interesting that the food is a little bit more intimate than the workout for people, which makes sense. I'm just like, to get like a degree in nutrition, that you must have that component in mind.
It's hard though, because a degree in nutrition is knowledge based, but it does not prepare someone to help someone nutritionally.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They need to like put some sort of communication class in there as well.
Yeah. I studied sports medicine in school, and I learned like neuromuscular adaptations to training and exercise physiology, foundations of health and disease, which are all awesome classes, but also having a sports psychology class and a BA 400, which is like a business orientation class, and then a coaching class on like coaching methodology was massive and provided just as much value, if not potentially more value, than the science-y version of things. But those were a must foundation for talking about those things, and even more so for nutrition, because there's a lot of information on nutrition. There's a lot of information.
Yeah, I mean, how you share the information it's key to everything.
Yeah.
Coaching.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. Exactly.
Everyone has mostly the same information. It's how you share it.
Yeah. The way that you deliver the information largely impacts whether it sticks or not for somebody. So
it's like an effective video or not, you know? You can't just talk. You'd have to have visuals. You have to have on.
Yeah. So yeah, there's not a current one at our location, but if there's any fantastic nutrition coaches that they would like to come talk to me, I would love to.
It's such a specialty thing.
It is.
I don't think I've met a nutritionist coach.
They will typically pair with a couple of other specialties. So a lot of times a nutrition coach will also be like a personal trainer or a CrossFit coach. And it's because it's really difficult to make a full living with just nutrition coaching. But it's a massive component. Like, I think the closest we have to something like that would be like a registered dietitian who sits in the office and gets to prescribe, food to people, which there's not really opportunity for that in the coaching world.
What other things are you looking for when you hire a coach? You said you have such a really high standard for your nutritionist. What other things do you look for when you're hiring your CrossFit coaches?
Our CrossFit coaches, they have to believe or be on the same page with our core values, which is integrity, excellence, fun and family, growth, and humility are our 6 core values. If they are not on board with those 6 core values, or they don't resonate with them, they're probably not going to be a good fit for our coaching staff. Fun and family are probably 2 of the higher rated ones that I look for. For you? For me. Fun and family, and that almost translates to care. Like if somebody cares how other people are doing, if someone cares how the business is doing, if someone cares, like our coaches will often, some of them have better relationships with members than I have with members, and they'll say, hey, I just wanted to let you know that so-and-so's pet died or aunt died or dad died. And we'll do things for those members, but it's like our coaches care and are invested in our members' lives as well. That's probably my biggest factor. I can teach a lot of the other stuff.
Yeah.
I can teach a lot of other stuff.
Teaching someone to care is...
It's really hard to do.
Yeah. I see it on the soccer field too. It's like some players, they get frustrated and they quit. Some players, they get frustrated, but they can't quit. They just have to keep going because they care.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that caring is a massive... Yeah, it's a life skill that carries probably to a lot of things.
It's just a gift, really. It's the gift of caring.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about your business. Let's talk a little bit about you. You you swam and you played water polo.
Yeah.
How was that? I mean, you said you were in the pool your whole life. How was that?
Yeah, it was wild. I grew up in Arizona, so I'm not even from around here. And where I grew up in Arizona, there was no water polo. Like, I joined a team in, I think, 2004, and no, 2001, and there was 4 to 6 of us that made this team. That was it. Like, there was no other teams in Arizona. I couldn't even swim. I remember after my first few practices, my coach, Bill, was like, you got to join a swim team because you're going to drown. And I'd like pool swam, but I had never lap swam before. Yeah. And so
why did you get involved in the pool in the first place?
I love being in the pool. Arizona's hot. And I swam. I always swam, and I was always like swimming underwater.
Okay.
But it wasn't at like a lap pool. It was like the pool in your backyard.
Yeah.
You know, playing with friends. It was never competitive, and I did all sorts of other sports up to that point too. And like, I did baseball. I did basketball. I did some football. I hated football. Surprisingly, football was like the sport that I liked the least.
Why is that?
I don't know. I did not like which is funny, I didn't like the heavy contact.
Yeah. But
water polo is like arguably way more heavy contact than football. But I don't know. It never stuck with me. I was like, I think I'm done after one season of football. Played some soccer. I hated running. So that one stopped
pretty quickly.
Yeah. It was so much running.
Yeah, there's a lot of running in soccer.
I think some of our best endurance athletes are soccer players. They don't push the heaviest weights, but if the workout's a longer workout and there's moderate weights, the soccer players absolutely crush everyone else. So I got into the water polo, loved it. The game was super fun, and it was a super small group. It felt like family. Joined a swim team, actually joined Sun Devil Aquatics, which is a massive swim organization. Ended up swimming way more than I played water polo just because the amount of training that they required was insane. It was mornings and evenings. It was like an hour and a half in the morning and 2 hours in the evening. And then I would practice for another 2 hours for water polo in the evening as well. To the point where I made it to the junior national team for 16 under and 18 under.
Nice.
Which was fun. That was a ton of travel all over the U.S. I ended up playing an international tournament in Calgary, Canada, which was fun.
That's cool. This was water polo?
This was for water polo, yeah. I was a good swimmer for a water polo player, but I was a terrible swimmer. Like, in the swimming world, like, my numbers were less than impressive. But in the water polo world, people were like, oh my gosh, you're so fast. I'm also a left-handed attacker, which was an advantageous position to be in water polo. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of sports have advantages for lefties.
Yeah.
When I played baseball, I was a pitcher as well, which is an advantageous position as well.
I've got this weird thing. I swing left-handed, but I throw right-handed.
Interesting.
Yeah. Are you lefty all the way? Right-handed?
I do club sports right-handed. So I learned how to hit a baseball with my right-handed. I learned how to swing golf clubs right-handed. But
you had to be taught that.
I think I was taught the swinging stuff before I threw anything.
So you didn't really know.
So I didn't know. And then when I started throwing, I was left-handed. And I throw left-handed. I write left-handed, do everything else left-handed. But I bat and golf right-handed. Although I learned when I was playing sports how to go opposite. And so I can also golf right-handed and also bat right-handed or left-handed
Lefty.
now.
Does it feel more natural again? Or does it?
Right feels way more natural.
Really?
But I am significantly more powerful on my left side.
Really?
Yeah, batting and golfing left-handed. I can drive and hit way better, but my consistency and accuracy is way on point right-handed, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, I've never met anyone who does the same as me, who
does one and then
who
plays
swings,
sports on the
swings
opposite.
with the left and then throws with the right.
Yeah, I was the opposite, and people would always be thrown off when I played baseball because I'd be throwing with my left, I'd go up to bat and I'd be on my right side, and they're like, "Oh, he's gonna be a lefty."
Exactly.
That's why I ended up being like, "Well, I gotta learn. Like, I'm already throwing with my left. Like, I need to learn how to bat left." Yeah. So I ended up my parents got me a batting coach to teach me how to hit left-handed, which is funny.
But you enjoyed being in the pool the most.
Yeah,
the pool. Baseball and
pool was. I just loved the pool. It was great. And it brought me. It did get to a point, maybe a year or two before college, where I was like, I think I'm done. I think this is like I was spending like 30 hours a week in high school training between both sports, swimming and water polo, and I was like, I think I'm done. I think this is. Yeah. And my parents were like, "This is your path to college."
Yeah.
And they made me stick it out instead of just letting me dwindle and not do it. I'm so glad they did. I ended up getting into Pepperdine because of it. And I didn't get athletic scholarship, but I got financial aid. Ended up being because I was an athlete, which is a story for another time. But I got need-based aid going to Pepperdine, which was fantastic. They have awesome need-based aid programs.
It's a nice school.
And it definitely, that love for water was massive.
So why Pepperdine?
I went to a couple of recruiting schools, and the other one that was like fresh off my mind was I went to one in New York, and then Fordham University, and then I went to the Naval Academy.
Oh, yeah?
And after seeing the Naval Academy, I was like, no chance. I was like, no chance am I going to do that.
What was
recruiting trips were as far apart as they possibly could. The rules were you're like not allowed to leave campus at the Naval Academy. Your quarters had to be made a certain way. You had like roommates that you lived with. You had to walk in hallways a certain way. Like your meals were all provided for. Like you went to a lunch hall and it was like everyone got the same exact meal. Athletes were treated like the absolute best. And people were like, "Oh, we get to like leave campus to go to a game." And some of the seniors that were on the recruiting trip were like, "Oh man, this is so awesome. Like it's not that bad. Like, after your junior year, you can leave campus and you can do this and you can do that." And I'm like, man, that's pretty
restrictive,
brutal.
Yeah.
And then my recruiting trip at Pepperdine, everyone's like, "Life is awesome, man. Like the beach is right here.
Yeah.
We're hanging out. You're going to class. Like it's a dry campus, but Santa Monica is right there. It was as California boy as you could possibly get."
Yeah.
And even though I grew up in Arizona, everyone always was like, "You're a California kid." And I didn't really realize that or know that. And even now people are like, it's crazy to me that you haven't been here your whole life. You definitely have a California vibe. And I'm like, yeah, I could definitely have grown up here for sure.
So you liked the Pepperdine visit the best?
Yeah, that was like that was an easy deciding factor. And I graduated early too, so I went on a couple of recruiting trips in my fall, and I graduated high school in December, so a semester early.
Seriously, yeah.
Which was not that impressive. Like they gave me an option to take like 2 classes my fall semester and 2 classes my spring semester, and just have like most of my day off, or just take all of the classes in the first semester. And I was like,
So what did you do that spring? Besides you visit campuses?
So that fall, I went and visited campuses thinking I'm going to see for next year. I don't know what I'm going to do in that springtime. I might get a job. I might go travel. And maybe I'll go to school. I might go early. And I went to a couple of those recruiting trips, and I applied to school for spring and fall admission. And I got into Pepperdine in the spring admission. And I got like an acceptance letter on like December 17th. And had to make a choice by like December 23rd.
Wow.
And then January 10th, I moved into Pepperdine.
Whoa.
So it was like...
So you were like, technically a high school... Well, I mean, not technically, but you were the age of a high school senior.
Yeah. I was 17 when I moved out. That's great. Spent the whole first semester as a 17-year-old.
So what was that decision like? What was going through your mind?
I don't know. I felt like it was an awesome opportunity. I was like, not many people probably get to go to college a semester early and practice with the team that they're going to play with in the fall. That had pros and cons. I kind of made a lot more friends with the people who had came in the previous semester. So I was like a semester late, even though I was technically the age of like the next year that would be coming in.
Yeah.
But there was a little bit of animosity with the group that came in the following year of like, who's this guy who's been here for the entire spring season? You know, he thinks he's better than all the rest of us. But it was because I had come in a semester early and I had made friends with most of the guys that were there prior.
I don't think I've ever heard of anyone doing that.
It's super unique. I don't think that very many people ever see that as an opportunity.
Yeah, I've never even thought of going to college early that spring semester.
I mean, most people, yeah. I don't know. I was definitely ready to get out of the house. I love my parents a lot, but it was great for me to be able to be out on my own.
What about like leaving high school early and like being a senior and that kind of experience? You didn't want to miss that, or? Yeah,
and the weird thing was very similar to how people kind of felt like when I came in that fall, like I was a semester early. Most of my friends were seniors when I was a junior. So they graduated that summer, and then they all went to college, and I was still in high school.
I see.
And so it was like, do you want to stick one more year, or do you want to finish in this semester and then go choose to do something else? While all of your friends already went to college, already went off. And I was like, I have no reason to really be here. Most of my friends have already graduated now.
So you had an older friend group, that's why.
Yeah.
What about like walking? What do they call it? Walking the cap and gown, the walking. I don't even remember what it's called.
Yeah, that was a funny situation too.
Graduation. That's
graduation. Maybe 3 or 4 weeks before walking, the school called my parents and they're like, "We're just letting you know that Kolby's not actually eligible to walk because he hasn't been in classes for this entire semester." And they called back and they're like, "Yeah, it's because he left and went to college. He's been done with school." And they somebody missed something somewhere and didn't really understand that that's actually what happened. But I didn't walk for my high school, even though they were like, okay, he's actually eligible. He could walk.
Okay.
I didn't walk at all for high school. And then I wasn't going to because I graduated, because I started in January, I graduated in December for college.
Right.
And so I wasn't going to walk again, but my parents were like, we would like to be at one of your graduation ceremonies. So I waited until that next spring and walked in spring of 2014, which was good. It was great to have family and friends all there kind of celebrating you, walking down. And that was a better walking ceremony than my high school graduation. It was cool.
What did you do after you graduated, before you walked? You didn't go to college again like you did in high school?
No.
Did you get a job?
I ended up stopped playing water polo 2 years into college for reasons outside of my control, because I got that money that was technically, because I was an athlete, it was considered an athletic scholarship, which was violating NCAA rules. And they found that out through some internal investigation. Nobody did it on purpose. Nobody was trying to break rules. School had just done an internal investigation. They told me,
Was it you or was it the team? Oh, it was you who got the award anyway.
I got the money.
Yeah, that's right.
Nobody was trying to do anything wrong. But because of that, the school came to me and said, hey, you can either continue to play water polo and not take any of the money, or you can take your money and stop playing your sport. So I stopped. I was like, well, I don't have the money to pay for school, so I'll take my money.
Wow.
And for a semester,
Somebody ratted you out, man.
no, it was the school did it. So there was 14 of us athletes who got affected like that.
Okay, so were there other people?
It was all sports. They did this. I don't know why they decided to do this investigation into this sort of thing. And it's kind of a loophole that most universities take advantage of, and it's kind of a loophole / technicality. But Pepperdine said, no, we're going to crack down on, we're going to, any students who are getting funding this way are going to have to make this choice, which is pretty brutal. So I started working. I had started CrossFit because I was post water polo. So I started CrossFit. I had maybe just started coaching. And I was like, I have so much time. I was like, I'm just going to school full time. I'm used to going to school full time and
Practice.
25 hours a week of practice. I was like, well, what am I going to do with all my time?
Seriously.
And so I was coaching, and then I was also working in a restaurant. And then I finished school, and I was like, man, I have so much time. I'm just working. I'm not working and going to school.
Yeah.
And so I started doing a ton of education for CrossFit and pursuing fire really hard. So I was trying to get into the fire department post-college as well. I didn't know if I was going to be – I loved coaching and wanted to do it, but I was kind of told, hey, unless you own the gym, like you're never going to be a coach. Like you're never going to make money. And so I thought for my life, I kind of gave myself 3 parameters. I wanted to not work a 9 to 5. I wanted to use my body or use my fitness, and I wanted to be in service of others. And fire department like fit the bill for that, and I thought that's what I was going to do. So that's what I pursued. So I did a lot of like fire training, fire classes, applications, interviews, in addition to working in restaurants and working at CrossFit and getting education for that too.
Did you have any desire to go back to Arizona after you graduated?
No.
You want to stay in California?
Yeah. It took my parents probably like 5 or 6 years to stop asking me like, are you going to come back to Arizona? Are you going to come back to Arizona? And I was like, no, I'm definitely not coming back to Arizona.
Do they ever?
They'll come out and visit. Yeah, they'll come out and visit. They are, and this was the case, but they're like, cost of living is so expensive in California versus here.
Yeah.
But now they pay almost just as much as I do living in small town Arizona. Arizona kind of exploded during COVID. Like rents went up like 100%.
Yeah.
So they're it's not that crazy of a jump back and forth. But they're still out there. My sister's still out there. I've got some cousins still out there and aunts and uncles. And so it's good family.
Yeah. My grandpa used to live in Sedona.
Okay.
And
Love Sedona.
I visited him once, and he's like, "Oh, don't go drive at this time of day because the roads will be packed." And I went out because I had to do something, and it was just like stuck at the light forever and ever.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, this is definitely people are visiting, and people are moving here. I felt that.
It's growing big time. And every time that I would go back, which was like twice a year, just so much new stuff. Just like massive complexes and shopping centers. There was like, this was a field last time I was here.
Yeah. That's how Camarillo was when I grew up.
Yeah. So
the outlets weren't there when I was a kid.
That's wild.
And now
everyone
knows.
Yeah. And there's still more and more happening there too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Oxnard Camarillo is very similar. There's a lot of, in the next 15 years, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the huge Amazon plants.
Yeah.
Why Oxnard? I mean, you're in Pepperdine. It's close by, but Not exactly Oxnard.
It is. Oxnard kind of fell into my lap when I was moving north. I was planning on starting a gym in Ventura. That was my goal. And
How'd you hear about Ventura?
when I was in college, I used to come up here and surf all the time.
Oh, yeah?
And I loved Ventura.
Yeah.
It was definitely beach culture, beach vibes, very laid back.
As opposed to surfing in Malibu, though?
Yeah, Malibu surfing is very, very different. It's
Culturally?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's not very much to do in Malibu, and it's a little bit of an older town, which is like fine. I was never really like a partier, but most things closed at 7 p.m. and didn't open until 9 or 10 a.m.
Thanks.
And so like, yeah, I think like it was the latest restaurants were like 9:30 p.m. And that's like, ooh, real late. You're staying out tonight.
Now it is for us, yeah.
Yeah, that's late now for me. And so I was like, if I'm gonna go anywhere, it's gonna be north, and I want to stay near Southern California, and so Ventura was gonna be the spot. Ended up, Joe was like, "Hey, I hear you're gonna open a gym. Do you want to just buy my gym for me?" And so that ended up working out really well. It took me 2.5, 3 years to actually do that, to make the negotiation actually happen. But that's why I ended up in Oxnard. I've lived in Ventura, even though being in Oxnard.
Did you ever think about like opening a surfing school?
No.
Or surfing just a hobby?
Surfing's just a hobby. Surfing has hands down been the hardest thing I've ever learned.
Really?
Yep.
Why is that?
And I'm pretty good at learning most things. Like I've learned crazy, weird things. Like I can ride a unicycle. And surfing was way harder than that. It's different every single time. There's no like consistency with repeatability. Yeah. And so every day that you go out, every wave that you surf is different. And so you can't do the same thing every single time. And so it was really hard. It took me probably a year and a half, 2 years to get to the point where I could stand up and surf waves. And that's not even like good. That's just like standing up and surfing. Yeah. So it was really hard.
One of the first guests I had on here was a guy named Christian.
Okay.
He owns a surf camp.
Oh, Makos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's super cool. But he's like, he's got the kids, he's got the high school teams, he's like all in.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I am also an ocean lifeguard for the county of Los Angeles. So down at Zuma Beach, there's another Makos surf school that's massive, and it looks like a ton of fun, but it takes a special person.
I feel like surfing's one of the coolest sports there is.
So fun. Yeah.
Just the cool factor of like, I'm a surfer.
The crazy
hair
thing,
and
the crazy thing, I feel like to me, CrossFit and surfing have the similarity of like, it's way better when it's not competitive. Like when surfing, when you go to like surfing competitions, you kind of lose the lure of surfing. Like sponsored free surfers are like the epitome of surfing.
Yeah. Because
then they have those guys that have the hair. They're like, we're just searching for the best wave. Like, we just want to get in it, But
the purity of it.
Yeah. And I feel like that's true with CrossFit too. And like, you're just like, oh, I'm here to get a good workout and sweat and work hard. It's like the best form of CrossFit, where if you get uber competitive with it and it's all about the scoreboard and the leaderboard and who's beating who, and same thing with like surf culture. I mean, even within surf culture, there's this huge riff between the ultra competitive surfers and the people who were just there to enjoy the waves and have fun.
The locals.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a whole nother world. I went to a surf competition a couple of years ago at Rincon. It was pretty awesome though.
Yes.
It's still like, it's like, I just felt like I was so cool,
Did you compete in the competition?
No, I just watched it. I just watched it.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. I was dating this girl and she took me there and it just felt so cool.
It's a fun place to be. I like Rincon. There's a couple of other spots along the coast here. I'm honestly like, C Street is so much fun. After surfing Malibu, Surfrider Beach a lot, everyone is not nice there. And so when you go out at C Street, and even if it's small days and there's not a ton of waves, the likelihood that there's an older guy that's in his 50s or 60s that's just like, hey man, life is awesome.
Yeah, everyone's friend.
Yeah. I'd rather have that than the guy that's like, hey, get out of my way, get out of my way, get out of my way. And you're like,
so you've experienced that?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of my summers I lifeguard at Malibu Surfrider, which is a no swimming beach. It's like the iconic surfing beach at the pier in Malibu.
Yeah.
And it's some of the best surfers go there, but it's also, tourist central. And so a lot of people rent surfboards and try to learn how to surf right in the surf line. And so I can understand how that's super frustrating. But people want to take a wave in the most iconic spot to take a wave in. And so it makes for some really bitter surfers.
It's kind of like the skate park at Venice Beach.
Yeah, exactly.
Such a tourist spot. And
but then the locals are just like over it.
Yeah, I get it. If that's your skate park.
Yeah. And so you're not like, I'll choose to go skate at Venice. Like, you're like, nah, I'd rather just let them
definitely not
do their thing.
So you're just telling me about your boating experience. Take me back to the beginning. You were living on a boat. How and when and why?
Yeah. I lived on a boat from like 2019 to 2024.
Okay.
On my like 10-year plan, I was thinking I was going to live on a boat, or not even live on a boat, but have a boat.
And I want to sail the world like some people do?
I don't know if I wanted to sail the world, but I had gotten into sailing by racing in wet Wednesdays with some crew. And
what is that? Is that a race here?
It's a race in most marinas on Wednesday nights. And it's 22 weeks long throughout the summer. So season's about to start. Mid-April is when season starts.
Oh.
And goes through like September, mid-September. And it's every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. The race starts. And it's in marinas like Santa Barbara, Ventura, Channel Islands, Marina del Rey. Like most of the marinas have them. Most of the harbors have them. So I learned how to do that, and I'm like, man, it'd be so cool to have my own boat. I love being on the water. I love, surfing. It'd be like now I'm learning how to sail. It'd be great to be able to sail and go out to the islands.
Yeah.
And ended up getting cut from my housing. The place we were living, the guy sold it and gave us a 30-day notice, which was like pretty brutal.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, well, that was like a 10-year thing. Let's see if we can figure out something right now. Found like a $20,000 boat, bought it and lived on it for a little while. It was a Catalina 30. It's a 30-foot sailboat.
Nice.
There was 2 of us on it, and so 30-foot sailboat with 2 people was pretty cramped, pretty packed. And ended up thinking, hey, let's get a bigger boat. If we're gonna live on a boat, let's get on a bigger boat. So I ended up buying a bigger boat, a 40-foot Catalina, so same make of boat, but a 40-foot version. We went from like 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom, and the bathroom didn't have a door. And you couldn't. There was no flat ground. Everything was curved.
Ooh, that's tough.
You couldn't pass each other in a hallway. Which was it would be fine for 1 person living on. 2 people is hard.
Yeah.
To this 40-foot boat, which was a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom boat.
Mansion.
Yeah, felt like a mansion. 10 feet of boat length was triple the amount of living space, which was super cool. And the boat was so much bigger. Because we had known how to sail, the sailing aspect of it was way easier. The stuff on a 40-foot boat was way nicer than the 30-foot boat. So lived on that, tried to get it out to the islands as much as I possibly could.
And you still have the boat?
right now. Yeah, it's up for sale if anybody wants to buy
For sale.
this boat. I'm super sad to see it go.
Oh yeah.
But boats need,
Can you rent out a boat? Like you can rent out a house?
not technically. There's like agreements with the marina of your slip contract is for you, and so you can't have like a tenant be on the boat.
Maybe like an insurance thing.
Yeah, you could like get a partner on the boat, and the partner could be, you say, oh, this person has 10% interest in the boat, and they could live on it if that's the case. But then that means that they're a partner on the boat, and they have to be on the insurance and all the other things too. So it wouldn't be like a normal tenant situation.
Yeah.
But they need love. Like they need to be used.
Yeah.
If it is weeks or months before you're out on the boat, there's just stuff that goes wrong. Things are dirty. They don't work like they're supposed to.
Yeah. Maintenance.
And so when the happiest boat's the one that's being used. So I'm not going to be able to, when we have this kid, I'm not going to be able to use it as much as I'd like, especially for a little while.
Right.
And I'd like to eventually get a different boat, a smaller boat. That'll be
a hobby boat.
Yeah, exactly. Not a living boat. Like if this boat wasn't the size that it is, I would definitely be keeping it. But it's it's like a house.
Yeah.
And I don't need a second house. So
not at the moment.
Yeah. But some of my favorite memories are sailing out and just anchoring out at the islands and there's like no one there. It's sunny. It's super glassy. You're like looking down at your anchor, like 30 feet down. You can see the sand. You can see the anchor chain. Yeah.
It's clear. Is that clear?
Not always, but there's days and weekends that are like that. They're so cool. I've made it as far as Catalina Island, so that's like 75 miles. It's like a 14-hour sail down to Catalina Island. Stayed there for 5-6 days, and then different way on the way back. I would come across to Marina del Rey and stay in Marina del Rey for a night, and then come up the coast from there.
What's it feel like to just be out there in the ocean?
Oh man, it's so awesome.
That's like stuff out of a book, you know?
Yeah. When you turn off the engine and you're just sailing, it's like one of the best feelings.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is literally just the wind. The wind is just pushing us. It's pretty awesome. It's definitely an experience that everybody has. But people get seasick too. And so I've had friends out that
it's not for them.
just do not enjoy the experience at all. And I feel really bad for them. But
when you're out there, you can enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really great. And it's nice to have crew of people that know what they're doing as well with you. And it's fun to bring people who it's a brand new experience for. So I'm definitely going to miss having the boat, but I still have a lot of friends that have boats and live on their boats. And so I will not be in any kind of boat shortage if I want to go sailing. It just won't be my boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever you feel like it, kind of thing.
Yeah. And they all want me to go sailing more often with them. So this will just be an opportunity for me to sail more with those guys.
What's the message you want to leave to your community?
Keep getting after it. Yeah. Say yes to all the things that you want to say yes to. And if you're feeling like your physical capabilities are keeping you from saying yes to what you want to say yes to, then come talk to me.
All right, we'll wrap it up. I've been speaking with Kolby Kristofik of Oxnard MVMNT and CrossFit Ventura. Thanks for coming on the podcast and sharing your experience with us.
Thanks for having me. It's been awesome.